When I was an adolescent, my grandmother had a corner drugstore in 3rd Ward here in Houston. She clearly played a very important role in knowing that I could be an entrepreneur one day. When I graduated from high school, I wasn't able to afford to go off to school. And so I ended up at Texas Southern. In the beginning, I was very disappointed about that. In the end, Texas Southern ended up being the best thing that could have ever happened to me. When I graduated from Texas Southern, I was very fortunate. I received 2 offers from Foley's. While at Foley's, I had a chance introduction to a young man who was president of an investment banking firm. And to be quite honest, I had never heard of an investment banker before. Well, what I didn't know at that time is that there were no people of color in investment banking. And while I was able to get interviews, it was very clear they didn't know that I was black. And you could see it on their face when they went through the interview, and all of a sudden, they had no opportunities available. In 1974, Black Enterprise magazine had started publishing the top 100 Black-owned businesses, and the total assets of all of these institutions was $974 million. So I developed a business plan that was focused on calling on these institutions to assist them in managing their assets. I took this plan to Herbert O'Connor & Weeks and the manager there, and said to him, here's almost $1 billion in assets. I could be the person that specializes in calling on these institutions. And I told him quite honestly, I said, I think the only reason why you won't hire me is because I'm black. And if I'm wrong, give me a reason to why you don't think I'm qualified, and you don't have to ever worry about hearing from me again. And with that, he turned to me and said, okay, you're hired. Once I got in the door at Herbert O'Connor & Weeks, I did quite well and became one of the top producers within the firm. While working here in Houston, I had an opportunity to go to work in New York for one of the most prestigious boutique firms, a firm called Dillon Reed & Company. Going to New York and being successful, I knew that that would be the confidence I would need to come back and start my own business. We started Smith Graham in March of 1990. We started with 4 people. We have over 30 people now, managing over $6 billion. Some of our marquee clients include JP Morgan, United Airlines, for Exelon, one of the largest utilities. We manage money for several endowments. We also have several large public funds.
I joined Cooper in 2001, which is the time I met Gerald, and we served together on the Cooper board. He understood our culture. He understood the direction we were trying to go. Over those 12, 13 years that we worked together, he was absolutely fantastic on strategy and business judgment. In fact, ended up being the lead director for the last 5 to 7 years that we worked together.
When I think about my success, I have to be very careful. I'm still working on being successful. We're still striving to be the best that we can be. And that's the way I am, and that's the way I want all of the folks who are around me to be.
Gerald always had a sense of what was right and what was wrong, and I never saw him waver around any issues that were tough, that were politically challenging, or that had any issues to do with ethics or morality. He was as straight and as clean of a responsibility around all that as they come.
I've always enjoyed working with Gerald on different philanthropic projects. He's trying to make a difference and make an impact in the world in such a way that it's a better place to live.
One of the things I learned a long time ago from my pastor as well as my grandmother was that I have been blessed to be a blessing. We feel as though education is a top priority for us at my alma mater, Texas Southern University. We have the Gerald B. Smith Center for Entrepreneurship and Leadership. My wife and I are founding donors of the African American Museum of History and Culture at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C.
Gerald's passion for the community, for the underserved, for civil rights, for education, for arts. All of these things have driven him to the work that he does in our communities.
When we think about being blessed to be a blessing, it's not always about just writing a check, but it is about serving and being one who really focuses on how you can add value.
Gerald is a person of ideals, hard work, with such humbleness. It says a lot about who he really is.